Have you ever noticed that some homes just seem to attract fortune, while others feel stuck or drained of opportunities? You might be surprised to learn that the way we clean and maintain our living spaces plays a crucial role in shaping the energy around us. According to Buddhist teachings, certain common cleaning mistakes can block the flow of prosperity and attract negative energies, even poverty. But don't worry, this video will walk you through 6 common cleaning mistakes that could be hindering your success and happiness. Stay with us until the end, and you'll learn how simple adjustments in your cleaning routine can transform your home and life. Ready to open the door to good fortune? Mistake 1. Keeping broken items. The mistake. One of the most common mistakes we make, unknowingly blocking prosperity, is holding on to broken or useless items. This practice is widespread in homes, offices, and even within our own minds. We often keep things because of attachment, emotional or material, which ties us to the past, to memories, or to a sense of scarcity. According to Buddhist teachings, everything around us holds energy. Items that are broken or no longer serve a purpose retain negative energy, preventing the flow of positive forces and opportunities into our lives. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as a key cause of suffering. When we hold on to broken objects, it reflects a deeper attachment to the past or a fear of letting go. The belief is that these objects carry stagnant energy, which accumulates over time and forms a barrier against positive change and prosperity. Correction? The correction here is to practice detachment and release the things that no longer serve us. According to Buddhist philosophy, attachment, whether to material things or past experiences, binds us to suffering. Therefore, detaching from these objects not only frees up space physically but also mentally and spiritually. Regularly assessing your belongings and asking whether each item still has value or purpose in your life is a good place to start. If an item no longer serves its function, whether broken, worn out, or unused, it's time to let go. This doesn't mean throwing everything away carelessly, but rather making conscious decisions to release what is no longer necessary. Donating broken or unused items is a beautiful way to make space for new opportunities, allowing fresh energy to flow into your home and life. In Buddhist practice, this can be seen as a symbolic action of clearing the mind, by clearing the clutter of physical items. We also clear the mental clutter that may be hindering our progress. Story, the Buddha and the Broken Bowl. One of the most profound stories that illustrate the power of detachment and releasing old attachments comes from the life of the Buddha. During his time, the Buddha had a favorite bowl, a simple and humble object that he used for collecting alms. One day, a disciple accidentally broke the bowl while cleaning it. The disciple was immediately filled with guilt, fearing that the Buddha would be upset. However, when the Buddha learned of this, he responded with deep calmness. The Buddha gently explained that the bowl, though cherished, was just a material object, impermanent and subject to the laws of nature. He told the disciple that clinging to anything, even a favorite object, was not the path to enlightenment. The broken bowl was no different from the impermanence of all things in life. His response embodied the key Buddhist teaching of non-attachment. This story not only teaches the impermanence of all things but also encourages us to let go of attachments, whether they are to material possessions or even memories. The broken bowl was a perfect metaphor for how attachment to physical items, especially those that no longer serve us, can cause unnecessary suffering. By letting go of our attachment to things, we make room for growth, for new energy, and for opportunities that might have otherwise been blocked. Deepening the practice of detachment. Detachment does not mean neglect or disregard for things, but rather a conscious choice to let go when they no longer serve a purpose. In the Buddhist view, everything is impermanent, and our attachment to the past can prevent us from fully engaging with the present moment. For example, a person might hold on to an old, broken chair because it reminds them of their childhood. While this emotional attachment is valid, the chair itself no longer serves its original purpose, and keeping it only clutters the home and mind. In this case, detachment means acknowledging the memory and value the chair holds while releasing it in favor of creating space for new growth. By regularly decluttering and releasing objects that no longer serve us, we align ourselves with the Buddhist practice of living in the present moment. This act of letting go becomes a form of self-care and purification of both our physical space and our inner world. Story, the Zen Master and the Teacup. A Zen master once had a student who was very eager to learn the ways of Zen. The student, impatient to gain knowledge, asked the master how he could achieve true enlightenment. The Zen master responded by offering the student a cup of tea. As the student sat and watched, the master began pouring tea into the cup, but kept pouring long after the cup was full. Tea began spilling over the sides, dripping onto the floor. The student, confused, asked, "Master, why are you pouring so much tea into an already full cup?" The master stopped pouring and looked at the student. "This is your mind," he said. "You are so full of your own thoughts, experiences, and attachments that you cannot take in anything new. You must first empty your cup before you can be filled with new wisdom." In this story, the Zen master's lesson is clear: to receive new teachings and insights, one must first let go of the old. Our minds, like a full cup, cannot accept new experiences or knowledge if we are too attached to the past. Releasing attachments, whether to objects, ideas, or memories, is essential to opening ourselves up to the present moment, and the possibilities it holds. Mistake 2. Accumulating trash. The mistake: leaving trash around the house, especially organic waste, is another common mistake that can block the flow of prosperity. In Buddhism, trash symbolizes disorder, negativity, and stagnation. Just as physical trash clutters our living spaces, it also clutters our energy. In Buddhism, attachment is seen as a key cause of suffering. When we hold on to broken objects, it reflects a deeper attachment to the past or a fear of letting go. The belief is that these objects carry stagnant energy, which accumulates over time and forms a barrier against positive change and prosperity. Correction? The correction here is to practice detachment and release the things that no longer serve us. According to Buddhist philosophy, attachment, whether to material things or past experiences, binds us to suffering. Therefore, detaching from these objects not only frees up space physically but also mentally and spiritually. Regularly assessing your belongings and asking whether each item still has value or purpose in your life is a good place to start. If an item no longer serves its function, whether broken, worn out, or unused, it's time to let go. This doesn't mean throwing everything away carelessly, but rather making conscious decisions to release what is no longer necessary. Donating broken or unused items is a beautiful way to make space for new opportunities, allowing fresh energy to flow into your home and life. In Buddhist practice, this can be seen as a symbolic action of clearing the mind, by clearing the clutter of physical items. We also clear the mental clutter that may be hindering our progress. Story, the Buddha and the Broken Bowl. One of the most profound stories that illustrate the power of detachment and releasing old attachments comes from the life of the Buddha. During his time, the Buddha had a favorite bowl. A simple and humble object that he used for collecting alms. One day, a disciple accidentally broke the bowl while cleaning it. The disciple was immediately filled with guilt, fearing that the Buddha would be upset. However, when the Buddha learned of this, he responded with deep calmness. The Buddha gently explained that the bowl, though cherished, was just a material object, impermanent and subject to the laws of nature. He told the disciple that clinging to anything, even a favorite object, was not the path to enlightenment. The broken bowl was no different from the impermanence of all things in life. His response embodied the key Buddhist teaching of non-attachment. This story not only teaches the impermanence of all things but also encourages us to let go of attachments, whether they are to material possessions or even memories. The broken bowl. Preventing positive energy from flowing freely and attracting good fortune. The belief is that when we neglect the cleanliness of our surroundings, we invite the accumulation of negative energy, which creates obstacles in both our personal and spiritual lives. When we leave trash uncollected, it becomes a symbol of neglect, not only of our environment but also of our mind and emotions. The kitchen, for instance, is often referred to as the heart of the home, where nourishment is prepared. If this space is filled with waste and residue, it may block the flow of abundance and positive vibrations that are essential for prosperity. In Buddhism, it's taught that our physical environment is a reflection of our inner state. If we allow disorder to persist, it can mirror an inner sense of chaos or stagnation. Correction? The correction to this mistake is to develop a habit of regularly removing trash from your home, particularly from the kitchen and the entrance. In Buddhist teachings, the kitchen symbolizes nourishment, and any leftover waste can represent a block in the flow of nourishment, both physical and spiritual. A clean kitchen invites abundance, and a clear entrance creates space for opportunities and positivity to enter. By establishing a consistent routine of waste removal, we not only maintain a clean home but also maintain the purity of our energy. When we remove trash with mindfulness, imagining that we are sweeping away negative thoughts and stagnant energy, we can invite greater clarity, peace, and prosperity into our lives. Regular cleaning becomes an act of mindfulness, transforming an ordinary task into a powerful spiritual practice. Story, the Buddha and the Golden Buddha statue. One famous story from the life of the Buddha illustrates the relationship between external cleanliness and internal peace. Once, there was a group of disciples who were traveling with the Buddha and came across a beautiful golden statue of the Buddha in a temple. However, the statue had been neglected for years, covered in dirt and grime. The disciples were moved by the sight but were also troubled by the statue's condition. They asked the Buddha what should be done to restore it to its former glory. The Buddha replied, "Before you clean the statue, clean your hearts." The outer cleanliness of the statue is a reflection of your inner state. When your hearts are clean and free of attachment, the external world will reflect this clarity. In this story, the Buddha was teaching that external cleanliness, including the cleaning of a physical space, is a reflection of the internal state of mind. If we neglect to clean our inner world, our emotions, thoughts, and intentions, we will see the same disorder reflected in our external environment. Just as the golden statue required a good cleaning to shine once again, Our hearts must be cleaned of attachments, grudges, and negative emotions to allow the true beauty of our lives to shine. This story emphasizes the importance of maintaining cleanliness, not just physically but spiritually as well. By regularly cleaning our surroundings, we create the proper conditions for spiritual clarity, peace, and prosperity to flow. Story, the Zen Master's Garden. Another well-known story in Zen Buddhism also speaks to the importance of keeping one's space free from clutter to promote clarity and harmony. A Zen master had a garden that was famous for its tranquility and beauty. One day, a young monk asked the master how to achieve the same peace and clarity in his own life. The Zen master led the monk into the garden and said, "Look at this garden. It is free from weeds, and every rock is placed with intention. The plants are cared for regularly, and there is no clutter or waste." The young monk asked, "Master, how does this garden reflect inner peace?" The Zen master replied, "Just as we must care for the garden, we must care for our minds. If we allow weeds to grow, they will overtake the beauty of the garden. Just as allowing negative thoughts and emotions to accumulate will cloud the clarity of the mind. The Zen master's garden is a metaphor for the mind. Just as a garden must be regularly tended to in order to remain peaceful and beautiful, so must our inner world be cared for in order to maintain clarity and harmony. The accumulation of trash in our homes, both physically and metaphorically, can create a weed that overpowers the peaceful energy needed for prosperity and inner balance. Practical steps to remove stagnant energy through trash removal. 1. Make trash removal a routine. Establish a regular habit of taking out the trash, particularly from areas like the kitchen and entrance. These spaces are important energy centers of the home, so keeping them clean is essential for attracting abundance. 2. Mindful disposal. As you remove trash, do so mindfully. Visualize yourself releasing negative energy and stagnant thoughts, and allow the space to be filled with fresh, positive energy. 3. Declutter regularly. Periodically check areas that tend to accumulate waste, such as under the sink or in closets. Clearing out unnecessary items, both physical and emotional, helps to keep energy flowing smoothly in your home and life. 4. Freshen up the kitchen and entrance. The kitchen represents nourishment, and the entrance is the threshold for new opportunities. Make sure these areas remain clean and organized to invite prosperity and good fortune into your home. 5. Use the space for reflection. The act of cleaning can be used as a meditation. While removing waste, reflect on the things in your life that no longer serve you, both material and emotional. Release them to make space for new blessings to enter your life. Conclusion: cultivating prosperity through cleanliness and order. In Buddhism, keeping your environment clean is not just about creating a pleasant atmosphere, it is a powerful practice of cultivating good energy, attracting positive circumstances, and opening the door for prosperity. Just as we remove physical waste to prevent it from cluttering our space, we must also remove mental and emotional waste to keep our minds clear and open to the blessings of life. By regularly cleaning our homes, especially places like the kitchen and entrances, we are creating an energetic environment that supports clarity, peace, and abundance. Each time we clean, whether it is physically or energetically, we are making space for new opportunities, just as we are preparing our hearts and minds for new growth. The stories of the Buddha and the Zen master show us that cleanliness is a spiritual practice, a reflection of our inner state. Through mindfulness, detachment, and regular maintenance, we can transform not only our physical environment but also our mental and emotional state, inviting harmony, peace, and prosperity into our lives. Mistake 3, dirty or misplaced mirrors. The mistake. Mirrors are powerful energy reflectors, both in the physical and spiritual realms. In Buddhist teachings, mirrors are symbolic of the mind. A clean and well-placed mirror represents clarity, self-reflection, and the ability to see things as they truly are. However, when mirrors are dirty, cracked, or misaligned, they distort energy, just as a muddled or unclear mind distorts our perception of reality. This can cause confusion, poor decision-making, and block the flow of prosperity. A dirty mirror does not simply reflect the outer world, it reflects the internal state of the person living in that space. Just as we need to regularly clean our mirrors to maintain clear reflections, we must also cleanse our minds to perceive opportunities and life's truths clearly. A broken or misplaced mirror represents an emotional or mental blockage, causing us to lose focus and preventing positive energy from entering our lives. In Buddhism, the act of maintaining a clean and clear mirror is seen as a reflection of the clarity of the mind. A clear mirror allows us to see ourselves clearly, which is essential for making wise decisions and moving toward prosperity. Correction? The correction to this mistake is simple: keep your mirrors clean and positioned properly. Mirrors should amplify light and positive energy, rather than reflect confusion, negativity, or blocked energy. A well-maintained mirror symbolizes mental clarity, self-awareness, and the openness to opportunities. To maintain harmony in your home, regularly clean your mirrors. Check that they are in good condition, and place them where they can reflect positive energy, such as in areas where they can bring light into a room. Avoid placing mirrors directly in front of doors or windows, as this can cause energy to reflect outward before it has a chance to fully enter your home. A mirror placed strategically can enhance the flow of energy, creating an environment that nurtures prosperity and personal growth. In Buddhist practice, the act of keeping mirrors clean is symbolic of maintaining a clear mind. Just as dirt on a mirror blurs the reflection, unaddressed thoughts, confusion, and mental clutter can cloud our perceptions and hinder our growth. Thus, cleaning mirrors serves as a reminder to also clean our minds, to release confusion, and to focus on clarity and positive intentions. Story, the Buddha, the Mirror of Wisdom. One of the most famous stories in Buddhist literature revolves around the concept of self-reflection and the importance of a clear mind, illustrated through the metaphor of a mirror. It is said that after attaining enlightenment, the Buddha was once approached by a disciple who asked, "Master, how can I achieve enlightenment like you?" The Buddha responded by telling the disciple to look into a clear mirror. The mirror reflects exactly what it sees. The Buddha explained, it does not distort the image or add any judgments. Just as the mirror reflects the face of the one who gazes into it, so too must you allow your mind to reflect the world as it truly is, without attachment or distortion. The Buddha then added, but just as a mirror must be clean to give a clear reflection, your mind must also be free of impurity, attachment, and preconceived notions. Only then will you see things as they truly are, without confusion or illusion. In this story, the Buddha uses the mirror to teach the disciple about the importance of clarity. The clarity of the mind, like the clarity of a clean mirror, is essential for understanding the true nature of reality. If our minds are clouded by desires, judgments, and attachments, we cannot see things clearly. Similarly, if our mirrors are dirty or broken, they reflect a distorted image. This story reminds us that just as we must regularly clean our mirrors, we must also regularly cleanse our minds to see and understand life more clearly. Story, the Zen Master and the Shattered Mirror. Another Zen story speaks directly to the symbolism of mirrors in understanding the mind. A Zen master had a disciple who was troubled by feelings of confusion and doubt. The disciple asked the master, "Master, I am struggling to find clarity in my life. How can I overcome this confusion?" The Zen master, in his usual quiet and reflective way, handed the disciple a broken mirror. "Here," the master said. "Look at this mirror. What do you see?" The disciple looked into the broken mirror and replied, "I see a distorted reflection." The Zen master nodded and said, "This is the state of your mind? Like the broken mirror, your thoughts and emotions are fragmented. You must mend the mirror of your mind. But this is not a simple task. The mirror cannot be repaired by merely gluing the pieces together. You must first understand the nature of the brokenness and let go of the attachment to the pieces. Only then can you see the world clearly." The disciple meditated on this for many days. Eventually, he returned to the master and said, "I have realized that it is not the mirror that needs to be repaired, but my mind. I have been holding on to pieces of past pain, confusion, and attachment. And it is these fragments that have distorted my perception of the world." The master smiled. "Yes. Just as the broken mirror can only reflect a distorted image, a mind clouded by attachment cannot perceive reality clearly. Let go of these attachments, and you will see the world with the clarity of a clean mirror." This Zen story teaches the profound lesson that the state of our mind reflects the quality of our perception. Just as a broken or dirty mirror distorts the image, a mind filled with attachment and confusion distorts our view of reality. By letting go of attachments and releasing the fragments of the past, we can restore clarity and see the truth of the present moment. Practical steps to keep mirrors clean and balanced. 1. Regular cleaning. Make it a habit to clean your mirrors regularly. This simple act of care ensures that they continue to reflect light and energy clearly. As you clean the mirror, visualize your mind becoming clearer and more focused. 2. Proper placement. Avoid placing mirrors where they might reflect negative energy, such as directly facing doors or windows. Instead, position mirrors where they can bring light and energy into the room. A well-placed mirror can amplify positive energy and bring prosperity into your space. 3. Repair broken mirrors. A broken mirror can symbolize fragmented thoughts or emotional blockages. If a mirror is broken, it's essential to repair or replace it, just as you would work on repairing a troubled or unclear mind. The act of repairing the mirror symbolizes your willingness to restore clarity and balance in your life. 4. Reflect on your own mind. Use the mirror as a reminder to reflect on your own state of mind. Is your mind clear? Or is it cluttered with negativity and confusion? Just as you care for the physical mirror, take time each day to care for your mental clarity through meditation, reflection, or letting go of unnecessary attachments. 5. Symbolic cleansing. Mirrors can be used in spiritual rituals to cleanse energy. Light incense or candles near the mirror and visualize the reflection of positive energy filling the space, creating an environment of clarity and peace. Mistake 4. Neglecting corners and baseboards. The mistake. It's easy to overlook the small, less noticeable places in our homes, like corners and baseboards. We often focus on the more visible areas, leaving these spaces to accumulate dust, dirt, and stagnation. In Buddhism, every part of our environment holds significance. And these neglected areas are seen as representations of unresolved issues, hidden obstacles, or areas of our lives that we avoid addressing. Just as a home with dusty corners and unclean baseboards creates an energy block, a mind cluttered with unresolved emotions or past experiences can hinder our personal growth and flow of prosperity. Neglecting corners and baseboards can symbolize a neglect of the inner self, areas where we have not confronted our challenges or emotions. In Buddhist teachings, these hidden or shrouded areas represent parts of our psyche that remain untouched or unexamined. And if left unchecked, they prevent us from moving forward. By not addressing these parts of our environment, or our inner life, we inadvertently create obstacles that disrupt the natural flow of positive energy and prosperity. Correction? The correction to this mistake is simple. Incorporate cleaning these small but impactful places into your routine. In doing so, we not only ensure our environment is physically clean but also send a message to our minds that we are ready to confront hidden obstacles and unresolved issues. By paying attention to corners and baseboards, we create a space that allows energy to flow freely, helping us to restore balance and harmony in our lives. Just as we clean these neglected areas of our homes, we must also take the time to address the unresolved emotions, fears, or past experiences that might be blocking our mental or spiritual progress. In Buddhist practice, this is akin to embracing mindfulness, acknowledging the areas where we have been avoiding or neglecting our growth, and consciously making an effort to heal and move forward. Through regular cleaning and care of these spaces, we transform not only our physical environment but also our mental and emotional landscapes. By consciously cleaning these small spaces, we create room for energy to circulate freely, allowing prosperity and positive opportunities to flow into our lives. Story, the Buddha, and the Unseen Path. One well-known story from the life of the Buddha sheds light on the importance of addressing hidden obstacles in our lives, symbolized through the neglect of corners and baseboards. After achieving enlightenment, the Buddha traveled to a village where a disciple, having heard of his wisdom, invited him to stay at his home. Upon entering the house, the Buddha noticed that while the central room was clean and organized, the corners of the room were filled with dust, cobwebs, and dirt. The disciple, feeling a little embarrassed, explained, "I take great care in keeping my house clean, but I often forget the corners and the baseboards." The Buddha smiled and replied, "This is similar to the way you treat your own mind. You work hard to keep your mind clear of distractions and negativity, but there are still corners within your consciousness that remain dusty and untouched. These areas, though hidden, affect your peace and clarity." The Buddha's teaching here was profound. He explained that just as neglecting the corners of a room can lead to accumulated dirt, neglecting parts of our minds, areas of unresolved emotions, fears, or attachments, can create mental stagnation. Only by addressing every part of our consciousness, including the neglected areas, can we achieve complete clarity and peace. In this story, the Buddha uses the metaphor of cleaning the home to illustrate the need to address every aspect of our inner world. The corners and baseboards are symbolic of the parts of ourselves that we may avoid or neglect, but they are just as important in maintaining our overall balance and harmony. Story, the Zen Master and the Hidden Obstacle. A Zen master once had a student who was eager to learn but struggled with a sense of inner blockage. No matter how much the student meditated, He couldn't seem to move forward in his spiritual journey. One day, the student confessed his frustration to his master, saying, "Master, I have been practicing diligently, but I feel like something is preventing me from moving forward. I am stuck." The Zen master, noticing the student's agitation, took him to a quiet room in the monastery. The room was sparse and simple, but the corners were filled with dust and old leaves. The master asked the student to clean the room. As the student began to clean the room, he focused on the larger, more visible areas, but kept avoiding the corners, assuming they were insignificant. The Zen master observed and said, "You are neglecting the corners. Just as you avoid these corners, you are also avoiding aspects of your own mind." The student paused, realizing the lesson the master was imparting. He turned his attention to the corners, cleaning them thoroughly. The Zen master smiled and said, "By cleaning the hidden spaces, you are also addressing the hidden parts of your mind. These neglected areas represent unresolved emotions, attachments, and fears that block your path to clarity and enlightenment." After the student cleaned every corner of the room, he felt a profound sense of peace and release. He understood that just as the physical act of cleaning the corners opened up space in the room, confronting his inner obstacles allowed his mind to become clearer, making room for spiritual growth and insight. This story highlights how we must tend to both the external and internal spaces in our lives. By addressing the hidden and neglected parts, we open ourselves to new energy and possibilities. In Buddhist teachings, this is part of the process of self-awareness and mindfulness, facing the areas of our lives we have been avoiding, whether physical or emotional. Practical steps to clean corners and baseboards, physically and mentally. 1. Regular cleaning, just as you would clean the corners and baseboards of your home on a regular basis. Make time to reflect on and address the parts of your life that are often neglected: emotions, fears, and unresolved issues. 2. Mindfulness practice, when cleaning your home. Use the opportunity to reflect on your mental and emotional state. Are there areas of your mind that you have been neglecting? Use cleaning as a metaphor for addressing those internal blocks. 3. Break down the process. Cleaning corners and baseboards can be a methodical process. Similarly, when dealing with inner issues, break them down into smaller steps. Confront one issue at a time rather than overwhelming yourself with everything at once. 4. Symbolic acts. As you clean corners, imagine releasing the negativity or unresolved issues that might be hiding there. With each sweep, feel yourself letting go of old attachments or thoughts that no longer serve you. 5. Daily reflection. After each cleaning session, take a moment to meditate or reflect on what you have addressed, both physically and emotionally. Use this time to set intentions for continued growth and balance in your life. Mistake 5. Dingy bedding and towels. The mistake. Bedding and towels are among the most intimate items in our home, coming into direct contact with our bodies. These objects are more than just practical necessities, they absorb our energy and can directly influence our mental, emotional, and physical well-being. When our bedding and towels are dirty or worn out, they retain stagnant energy that can affect our mood, vitality, and overall state of mind. In Buddhist teachings, cleanliness is seen as essential not only for physical health but also for maintaining a clear and balanced mind. Just as dirty or damaged bedding can create a feeling of discomfort, Unresolved emotions or negative thoughts can leave us feeling heavy and drained. A lack of care for these everyday items is symbolic of neglecting our own self-care. When we do not take the time to refresh our personal space, including the linens we sleep on and dry ourselves with, we may unconsciously be inviting stagnant energy into our lives, making it harder to invite new opportunities or peace into our lives. Correction? The correction to this mistake is simple and impactful: change your bedding and towels regularly. This act of regular renewal is a direct form of self-care, allowing us to maintain not only physical hygiene but also emotional and mental well-being. Clean, fresh bedding represents clarity, peace, and the welcoming of new energy into our lives. By changing our bedding and towels regularly, we signal to ourselves that we are deserving of comfort, well-being, and positive energy. In Buddhist practice, self-care is seen as a vital part of personal growth. Taking the time to keep our environment and personal items fresh and clean is an outward expression of the respect we give to ourselves and the life force we wish to maintain. Each time we refresh our bedding, we are symbolically clearing away old, stagnant energy and making room for vitality, new ideas, and opportunities. This simple act of refreshing your linens is also a reminder of the impermanence of all things. Just as we change our bedding to maintain comfort, we must also be willing to let go of old thought patterns, emotions, and experiences that no longer serve us, making space for new, positive things to enter our lives. Story, the Buddha and the Worn-Out Robe. In one of the teachings of the Buddha, a story emerges about the importance of self-care, even in the smallest aspects of life. The Buddha, known for his humility and simplicity, wore a robe that was patched and worn, a symbol of his detachment from material possessions. One day, a wealthy merchant visited the Buddha and noticed that his robe was old and tattered. The merchant, moved by compassion, offered to buy the Buddha a new, more luxurious robe. The Buddha gently refused, explaining that he did not seek luxury or comfort in material things, but instead found peace in simplicity. However, he then shared an important teaching with the merchant: even though I do not seek luxury, I still care for what I have. This robe, though worn, serves me well because I care for it. The act of cleaning, mending, and caring for what you own is an act of mindfulness. It is not about the value of the item, but the intention behind it. The Buddha's message was that self-care, even in the simplest forms, is a form of spiritual practice. While he did not place value on material wealth, he still demonstrated great care for his own belongings. This care reflects a respect for oneself and the energy one cultivates in life. By taking the time to care for our personal items, we maintain an energetic balance that invites peace, clarity, and well-being. This story emphasizes the Buddhist teaching that true comfort and happiness are found not in the accumulation of wealth or possessions but in how we care for ourselves and the things we have. Just as the Buddha's robes, though simple, were cared for with attention and mindfulness, so too should we care for our bedding, towels, and personal items with intention, ensuring that they are fresh and renewed to help maintain our inner peace. Story, the Zen Monk and the Dirty Towel. A Zen monk once had a student who had been struggling with a sense of emotional turmoil and exhaustion. Despite practicing meditation and mindfulness, the student felt heavy and unable to find peace. One day, the Zen master noticed the student had been using an old, worn-out towel after bathing. The towel was frayed and had a musty smell. The master, observing this small detail, said, "You have been meditating to purify your mind. But look at the towel you use to cleanse your body. It is dirty, worn, and symbolizes the stagnation you hold on to. How can your mind be truly clean if your body's cleansing tools are neglected?" The student was surprised, as they had never thought of this before. The master continued, "Taking care of your body is as important as caring for your mind. When you care for the physical aspects of your life, such as keeping your towel fresh and clean, you are also caring for your energy. A worn-out towel holds on to the past, just as worn-out thoughts hold on to the past. By refreshing your towel, you refresh your energy and mindset." The student realized the profound truth in this teaching. They immediately replaced the old, worn towel with a fresh one, and over time, felt a renewed sense of vitality and peace. The Zen master had taught the student that self-care is not limited to meditation or spiritual practice, it must extend to the care we give to our physical body and the objects we use daily. This story highlights the importance of maintaining the freshness of the objects we use to care for our bodies. Just as our mental clarity is affected by our thoughts and emotions, our physical well-being is influenced by the state of the objects we use to care for ourselves. Mistake 6, dirty or worn-out brooms. The mistake. The broom is not just a tool for cleaning physical dirt, it holds symbolic significance in many cultures and spiritual practices. Especially in Buddhism, the broom is seen as a tool for sweeping away not only physical dust but also negative energy, stagnant emotions, and any obstacles that may hinder the flow of prosperity and peace. However, when a broom is dirty, worn out, or stored incorrectly, such as upside down, it can inadvertently block the very positive energy it is supposed to attract. In Buddhist teachings, cleanliness is a path to spiritual renewal, and the broom is symbolic of this process. If a broom is neglected or improperly handled, it represents a neglect of self-care and spiritual cleansing. Storing a broom upside down or leaving it dirty can symbolize the blockage of positive energy, preventing new opportunities, growth, and peace from entering your life. Your life. A broom, when used and stored correctly, becomes a tool for transformation. It helps sweep away the old, making room for new and beneficial energy. However, when a broom is not cared for properly, it becomes a symbol of the neglect of personal and spiritual growth. Correction? The correction to this mistake is simple but powerful: clean and store your broom properly. A broom should be cared for just like any other tool that supports your well-being. By cleaning the broom and storing it correctly, you're not just maintaining an object in your home, you're also symbolically clearing away negativity, allowing fresh, positive energy to enter your life. In Buddhist practice, using the broom with mindfulness can become a ritual for releasing the old and making space for the new. When you sweep, imagine that with every motion, you are sweeping away doubts, fears, and negative emotions. When you store your broom properly, upright, you are signaling that you are prepared to receive the positive energy and opportunities that will come your way. By regularly cleaning and maintaining your broom, you create a habit of spiritual hygiene, ensuring that your environment is energetically clear and welcoming to prosperity, growth, and peace. Story, the Buddha, the sweep of clarity. In one of the many parables associated with the Buddha, there is a story about how a simple act of cleaning can symbolize spiritual purity. A layperson once asked the Buddha, "How can I find peace in a chaotic world?" The Buddha responded by telling a story about a man who lived in a busy, cluttered city. The man's house was always filled with dust and clutter, which made it difficult for him to think clearly or find peace. One day, the man decided to clean his house thoroughly. He took a broom and swept the dust away, piece by piece. As he worked, he realized that not only was his physical space becoming cleaner, but his mind was also becoming clearer. He began to see things more clearly, without the distractions of clutter or dirt. The Buddha continued, just as this man used the broom to clear his house of dust, you must use mindfulness to clear your mind of the dust of attachment, ignorance, and desire. When the mind is clean, peace will naturally follow. The broom is your tool, but mindfulness is your path to clarity. In this story, the broom becomes a metaphor for spiritual practice. Just as sweeping dust away makes the physical space clear, using mindfulness and meditation clears the mind of distractions, allowing peace and clarity to settle in. This parable teaches that simple, mindful actions can lead to profound spiritual clarity. And the broom is a powerful symbol of this cleansing process. Story, the Zen Master and the Broken Broom. In a Zen monastery, a young monk was struggling with feelings of frustration and a lack of progress in his spiritual journey. Despite his dedication to meditation and study, he felt overwhelmed by the weight of his thoughts and emotions. One day, he decided to share his feelings with the Zen master. The Zen master listened patiently and then handed the monk a broom. "Sweep the courtyard," the master instructed. The monk, puzzled but obedient, began sweeping the courtyard. After a few minutes, the Zen master returned and noticed that the broom the monk was using was old, worn out, and broken. "Why are you using a broken broom?" the master asked. The monk replied, "It is the only broom available." The master nodded. "Just as you have a broken broom, you also carry a broken mind. If you continue to use tools, whether brooms or thoughts, that are worn out or broken, you will never truly be able to clear the path before you. It is not the broom that is important, but how you treat it and how you treat your mind." The monk understood that his feelings of frustration and stagnation were not just due to external circumstances, but also due to his attachment to old, unhelpful thoughts and attitudes. The broken broom became a symbol of his internal state, worn out and ineffective. He left the broom behind and began using a new broom, symbolizing his readiness to let go of old attachments and move forward with renewed energy. This story emphasizes the importance of using tools, whether material or spiritual, that are effective and properly cared for. A broom, like the mind, must be maintained and renewed regularly to be effective. If we hold on to broken tools or worn-out beliefs, we block the flow of positive energy and progress. Practical steps for proper broom care and energy cleansing. 1. Clean your broom regularly, just as you clean your home. Make sure to clean your broom regularly. Sweep away any dust and debris that accumulate on it, and give it a good wash when necessary. This symbolizes cleaning the mind and ensuring that it remains clear and free of negative thoughts. 2. Store your broom properly. Store your broom upright, not upside down. In Buddhism, this symbolizes that you are prepared to receive positive energy and new opportunities. Storing a broom correctly ensures that it remains a tool of cleansing rather than a source of stagnant energy. 3. Mindful sweeping. When using the broom, do so mindfully. As you sweep, visualize yourself sweeping away not only physical dust but also mental clutter, negativity, and emotional blockages. Each sweep represents a release of fear, doubt, or old attachments. 4. Replace worn-out brooms. If your broom becomes worn out or broken, replace it with a new one. This is symbolic of replacing old, ineffective patterns of thinking and behavior with fresh, empowering beliefs and actions. A new broom represents a new beginning. 5. Ritual of cleansing. Incorporate the act of sweeping into a daily ritual of cleansing. Whether it's a physical space or your mind, the act of sweeping should remind you to clear away the past, release negative energy, and make space for fresh opportunities and positive change. Conclusion: sweeping away obstacles. In Buddhism, the act of cleaning and maintaining our tools, such as the broom, is not just a physical task but a reflection of our internal state. A broom that is properly cared for and used mindfully symbolizes the clarity and focus we need to maintain in our minds. When we sweep, we are not just removing dust but also clearing away the obstacles that hinder our growth and spiritual progress. The stories of the Buddha and Zen master teach us that by caring for our tools and surroundings, we also care for our minds. By cleaning and maintaining our broom, we cleanse our space and invite fresh energy into our lives. Just as we clear physical clutter, we must also clear mental clutter to create a harmonious environment that supports growth, prosperity, and peace. When we sweep our homes with mindfulness and care, we not only maintain a clean environment but also cultivate a mind that is clear, open, and receptive to new opportunities. The broom, as a symbol of spiritual and physical cleansing, is a powerful tool that can help us release the old, invite the new, and maintain the flow of positive energy in our lives. Key takeaways. Mindful sweeping. The broom symbolizes the clearing of both physical and mental clutter. Regularly sweeping your space is a form of spiritual hygiene. Proper care. Just as a broom needs to be cleaned and stored correctly, we must care for our minds and emotions to maintain clarity and openness. Releasing negativity. By sweeping with intention, we release negative thoughts, emotions, and attachments, making space for prosperity and new opportunities. Symbolic cleansing. Sweeping can be a ritual of cleansing, symbolizing the release of old energy and the welcoming of new, positive changes. By taking the time to care for your broom and your environment, you open the door to fresh energy, prosperity, and growth. Just as a clean broom sweeps away the dust, a clear mind sweeps away the obstacles that block your path to happiness and enlightenment.